There are moments in life when love begins to feel unfamiliar, when connection turns into confusion, and peace is replaced by tension that no one can quite explain. What if these changes are not random, but influenced by forces you never considered? Imagine discovering that what you once believed was simple relationship struggle could actually be something deeper, something intentional. In this eye-opening speech, we explore the unsettling perspective of someone who once walked in darkness and now reveals the hidden signs that your relationship may be under attack. This is not about fear, but about awareness, clarity, and reclaiming the bond you thought was slipping away. There is something deeply unsettling about feeling close to someone one day and strangely distant the next, as if an invisible wall has quietly risen between two hearts that once understood each other without effort. You begin to question yourself, wondering if you changed, if they changed, or if something simply broke without warning. The warmth that once filled your conversations starts to fade, replaced by silence that feels heavy and unfamiliar. It is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it is subtle, a slow drift that you cannot quite explain, but you can definitely feel. This kind of emotional distance does not just happen overnight without a trace. It leaves behind confusion, doubt, and a sense that something deeper may be influencing what you are experiencing. When this distance appears suddenly and without clear cause, it can shake your confidence and make you question the foundation of your relationship. You may find yourself trying harder, speaking more carefully, or overthinking every interaction just to bring back what once felt natural. At the same time, your partner may seem withdrawn, distracted, or emotionally unavailable in ways that do not match their usual behavior. This creates a cycle where both of you feel disconnected, but neither fully understands why. It is important to recognize that not every problem is visible on the surface. Sometimes what you are facing feels beyond logic, and that is when awareness becomes your greatest strength. Do not allow confusion to turn into helplessness, because even in moments of emotional distance, your awareness gives you power. Instead of assuming the worst about yourself or your partner, begin by grounding yourself in clarity and intention. Speak with honesty, observe without fear, and trust your inner sense when something does not feel right. You have the ability to protect your connection by refusing to let unexplained distance define your story. Whether the cause is emotional, external, or something you cannot yet fully understand, your response can still be guided by strength and purpose. Reconnect with what brought you together and hold on to that truth. Remember this: distance may appear suddenly, but so can awareness, and awareness is the first step toward reclaiming what truly belongs to you. There comes a point when small disagreements begin to feel like battles, when simple conversations turn into heated arguments that leave both of you drained and confused. You start to notice that things which once seemed insignificant now trigger reactions that feel too intense to control. A misplaced word, a delayed response, or even silence can suddenly spark tension that escalates beyond reason. It feels as if something is constantly pushing both of you toward conflict, even when neither of you truly wants it. This pattern does not just create distance. It creates emotional exhaustion that chips away at the bond you once trusted. When conflict becomes constant, it is no longer about the issue itself, but about the energy that surrounds it. As these arguments repeat, They begin to shape the way you see each other, turning understanding into suspicion and patience into frustration. You may find yourself expecting disagreement before a conversation even begins, as if your mind has been trained to prepare for conflict. This expectation alone can fuel the cycle, making it harder to return to a place of calm and connection. It is easy to fall into the trap of blaming each other, believing that one of you must be the cause of all this tension. Yet deep down, there is often a quiet voice reminding you that this is not how things used to be. That voice is important because it holds the memory of what is real and what is not meant to define your relationship. You have the strength to interrupt this pattern, even when it feels overwhelming and persistent. Instead of reacting immediately, choose to pause and become aware of what is truly happening in that moment. Remind yourself that not every spark deserves to become a fire, and not every disagreement needs to turn into a battle. Protect your peace by choosing your response with intention rather than emotion alone. When you shift your energy, you begin to weaken the hold that constant conflict has on your connection. This is where real change begins, not by forcing control over each other, but by reclaiming control over how you respond. Never forget that conflict may try to take center stage, but it does not have the power to define the story unless you allow it. There are times when it feels like everything around your relationship begins to shift in a way that is difficult to explain, as if a cloud has settled over what once felt light and secure. You may notice that stress appears more often, not just between you and your partner, but in other areas of life that begin to affect your connection. Small setbacks start to pile up, and what once felt manageable now feels overwhelming and constant. It creates a sense that something is not just wrong, but persistently working against your peace. This kind of atmosphere can make you feel heavy, as if the relationship itself is carrying a weight that neither of you understands. When negative energy lingers without clear reason, it can quietly influence your thoughts, your emotions, and the way you relate to each other. As this feeling continues, it can begin to shape your perspective, making it harder to see the good that still exists between you. Moments of joy may feel shorter, while moments of stress feel longer and more intense. You might begin to question whether the relationship is meant to last, even if there was once no doubt in your heart. This is where awareness becomes essential, because not everything you feel reflects the truth of your bond. Sometimes circumstances, pressure, and emotional strain can create the illusion that everything is falling apart. Recognizing this allows you to pause and separate what is real from what is being amplified by negativity. Your relationship deserves to be seen clearly, not through the lens of constant stress. You have the power to shift the energy that surrounds you by choosing how you respond to these challenges. Instead of allowing negativity to take control, focus on creating moments of calm, understanding, and support within your connection. Speak words that uplift rather than divide, and take intentional steps to protect your emotional space. Even in the presence of stress, you can choose to strengthen your bond rather than weaken it. This does not mean ignoring problems, but facing them with clarity and purpose rather than fear. When you change your response, you begin to change the atmosphere itself, making room for stability and hope to return. Remember that no matter how heavy the moment feels, The power to restore balance and protect your relationship has always been within you. As we come to the end of this message, understand that not every challenge in a relationship is what it appears to be on the surface. Sometimes distance, conflict, and constant negativity feel so real that they begin to define your reality. But awareness allows you to see beyond that illusion. You are not powerless in the face of what you cannot explain. You have the ability to pause, to reflect, and to choose how you respond instead of being carried by confusion or fear. A strong connection is not just built on love, but on clarity, intention, and the courage to protect what matters. Do not allow unexplained changes to convince you that something beautiful must come to an end. Instead, use awareness as your guide and strength as your foundation. Reconnect with truth, communicate with purpose, and hold firmly to the bond that once brought you peace. Whatever challenges arise, remember that your response has the power to shift the direction of your relationship. Stay aware, stay grounded, and protect your connection with intention.